Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. Today, we are going to start a new chapter in political science, that is, era of one party dominance. Under this chapter, we will see how democracy was established in India. Though our constitution has made provisions for the setting up of the democratic government, but constitutional provisions are not enough in order to make it real, in order to make it, in order to actualize the dream of democratic government. um, So many efforts was done by our political leaders as well as the common people's contribution can also not be ignored. So, under this chapter, we are going to discuss the second challenge which India was facing at the time of independence. In the previous chapter, we have discussed about the challenges that India was facing at the time of independence. And the most important challenge was the challenge of nation building. And we have discussed this challenge in the first chapter. And now we will our focus our attention towards the challenge of setting up of democratic government in India. It is very much important because India became independent after Second World War, and we see that so many countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America became independent after the Second World War, and almost all the countries adopted the constitution, which was democratic. All the newly independent countries of third world accepted the democratic constitution, adopted the democratic constitution. But what happened in actual practice was quite different from what were the provisions in the constitution. And almost, and we can't say that all the countries, but in most of the countries, it happened that the democracy was existing only on the constitution, in the constitution. It was actually not existing in practice. Why it happened? Because every country was facing same kind of challenges what India was facing, and the most important challenge in front of any country was the challenge of national unity, because all the countries became independent after a long colonial rule, and in almost many countries there was problem of ethnic diversity, and this is the reason that they wanted that their first priority should be national unity, and if they will focus more on the establishment of democracy, then what will happen that because of democracy, there will be differences and conflicts among the groups of people, because democracy is based on the principle of equality and freedom, and these principles of equality and freedom uh, give strength to the people. These principles of equality and freedom give power to the people to assert themselves. And in this way, there is bound to be differences and conflicts among the people. So, what will happen? The government's focus of the government will shift from national unity to this problem which will be created because of democracy. And because of these differences and conflicts, among different groups of people, the national unity of the country will be obstructed. The integrity of the country will be obstructed. And the newly independent countries uh, did not want to be involved in new problems. Their first and only priority was the national unity. So many countries of the third world who gained independence after the Second World War, they all experienced non-democratic rule. Though democracy was there in the constitution, but in actual practice, it was a non-democratic rule. We can see it in our neighborhood. Pakistan, which is the one of the important neighboring country of India, in Pakistan we see that democracy can never be stable there. Many times military rule was established there and democratically elected rule was removed. And in Bangladesh also we find that military rule was established many times, though at present we can say that after the end of Cold War, Bangladesh has established democracy in a more stable manner. Then we see China is there. In China, what we find that there is single party single party system, and under this system democracy cannot be real. Then in Nepal we find that monarchy was there, and that monarchy usurped the powers of other organs of the government. So we can experience undemocratic rule is existing in one or the other form. Many times what we see that democracy is only nominal, and actually there is control of only one leader. What was experienced in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was also a third world country, and uh, though constitution has adopted democratic government, but in actual practice democracy was not there. Then the undemocratic rule can take many forms, like one party rule, like in China, or direct army rule, like in Pakistan. So we see that it was not easy if India is a democratic country for the last 70 years without any obstruction. It is a great achievement, not only of the Constitution of India, not only of the political leaders of India, but also the people of the India. Because the circumstances when the country became independent was very difficult, and in these difficult circumstances our national leaders chosen to have democratic government. There was easy choices were also available before the leaders of the newly independent India. They can take the path of dictatorship, and then in that case uh, the problem of nation building can be solved very easily, and the country can be taken to the goal of economic development also easily. But our leaders were not, our national leaders at that time were not of that opinion. For them, uh, setting up of democracy was the most important goal in front of them, because the basis of our freedom struggle was the democracy. And the leaders of that time they did not wanted to crush the dream of our freedom struggles, crush the dream of our freedom fighters. So they did not view politics as a problem. They did not view that because of democracy problems will arise, like other countries felt that because of democracy there will be differences and conflict among various groups of people, and then nation building will become a more problematic issue for them. But our political leaders were of the opinion that democracy will not create any problem, but actually it will solve the problems. It will solve the problems by giving recognition to different groups, by encouraging and by promoting diversities. What happens that the people started to think that the country belongs to them, and in this way it contribute towards the integrity of the country. So our political leaders were not seeing the democracy as a problem, but they were seeing it as a way of solving the problem. Whatever problem of nation building was existing at that time, these problems can be solved only by adopting the democratic rule in reality. So our political leaders accepted this democratic politics. And democratic politics, what we see that there is competition, and all the political parties are fighting for the power only. But the purpose of this all this political activity is pursuing public interest. Public interest is the most important goal. Power, to get power is not the goal. The goal is public interest. And in order to fulfill that goal, power and competition will be there. So our constitution, our political leaders decided to take the path of democracy. So in this way, we see that our constitution was signed on 26th November 1949, and it came into effect on 26th January 1950. And at that time there was a interim government. Interim government means that government which is formed just for the sake of the फंक्शनिंग, काम चलाओ सरकार जिसको हम कहते हैं, काम चलाने के लिए उस सरकार को बनाया जाता है. तो इंडिया बिकेम इंडिपेंडेंट on 15th August 1947, but uh, at that time the elections cannot be conducted because our constitution was under construction at that time. So interim government was formed in the prime ministership of Pandit Nehru, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the deputy chief minister and home minister also. So now after the implementation of the constitution, now there was a need to install the first democratically elected government of the country. All the rules, all the provisions have been written down in the constitution. Now, what was the need? The need was to turn these written rules into practice. And though it was a tough task, but initially The political leaders thought that mm, we will start the process of election and it will take few months, and then within few months we will be able to hold election, it was thought. But the actual matter was not so simple. It was a highly complex task, and you can see the Election Commission of India was set up in 1950, January 1950. And as you all know, the Election Commission of India is responsible for holding election to the Lok Sabha as well as state legislative assemblies. So, in January 1950, this commission was set up, and this is very important. Sukumar Sen was the first chief election commissioner of India, and it was expected that the commission was set up in January, and it was expected that within few months we will be able to hold election, and it was felt that in this year only, in the year 1950 only, India will face the election. But the reality was quite different. It was very soon the election commission discovered that it was not going to be an easy task to hold a free and fair election in a country like India, where the size of population is so big, so large population was there, and not only the population was large, the other problem was also there, and that was the illiteracy. Our population was illiterate also. So that was a real challenge for the election commission. The first challenge came when uh, there was a need to delimitation or drawing the boundaries of the electoral constituencies. As you all know, this is the duty of the election commission to draw the boundaries of the different constituencies. For the purpose of Lok Sabha election, the whole India is divided according to the seat in the Lok Sabha. जितना लोकसभा में सीट होता है उतने कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज ऑल ओवर इंडिया में बनते हैं. And for the elections to the state legislative assembly, again the country is divided, the states are divided into that many number of constituencies. So the first function was to delimit or drawing the boundaries of the electoral constituencies, and then the second challenge was the preparation of the electoral roll. इसमें भी बहुत problems आए. What were the problems? The population was large, so it was not an easy task to prepare the electoral rolls. And when we see the first draft of the rolls was published, it was discovered that the names of nearly 40 lakh women were not recorded. Why this name of 40 lakh women were not recorded? Because they were listed as wife of someone or daughter of someone. Because in Indian society, the women lack the identity. They don't have their own identity. So the people, the administrative staffs who came for the preparation of the electoral roll, instead of writing the name of the woman, they have written wife of or daughter of. So in this way, the first problem arose, and the election commission refused to accept these entries because without name, nothing can be done in a proper manner. So it refused to accept it and ordered a revision, and again the names has to be had to be included, the names of those 40 lakh women, and in this way uh, these type of challenges came in front of the uh, election commission. And this was the time, by this 1950, by this time no election on this scale had ever been conducted in the world, because by this time only European countries, America and European countries were experiencing democratic government. So, and these European countries are very small in size, and India was such a large country, and that is the reason so much problem arose. The population was so big. Uh, we can understand it by this data. At that time, there were 17 crore eligible voters. So, 17 crore eligible voters who had to elect about 3,200 MLAs, member of legislative assemblies, and 489 members of the Lok Sabha. And of these 17 crore eligible voters, only 15% were literate. So this was the condition of literacy. The number was so large, the country's area was so big, and the percentage of literate people, percentage of literate voter was only 15%. So this created a big challenge for the election commission. Election commission has to give training to 3 lakh officers and polling staffs to conduct the election. It was a mammoth task, and it was a great challenge for the election commission to hold elections, and the commission think of some new method, and in that way it started giving training to 3 lakh officers and polling staffs to conduct the election. Now we see that the first general election was the first big test of democracy in a poor and illiterate country. India was a poor country. India was majority of the population was illiterate at that time. So the only problem before the election commission was not the size of the country and size of the electorate, but in a country like India, which was poor and which has such a great illiteracy rate, it was really a big challenge. At that time, democracy existed only in prosperous countries like European countries, which are very rich countries, country of North America, where um, these countries are not only rich countries, but the population was also literate. Almost 100% literacy was there in these countries. So the condition of Europe and America was completely different from the condition of India. Still, our constitution makers has really done a great job by giving universal adult suffrage to all. because we see that in America, which got independence in the year 1776, and it gave right to vote to women in the year 1920. So you can just imagine the country is becoming independent in 1776, and it has given the right to vote to its women folk in 1920. Similarly, we see in France, you must have remembered the French Revolution. The French Revolution started in the year 1789, and from 1789 changes started to take place in the politics and society of France. But we find that in France, uh, women get right to vote in the year 1946. So karib it took almost 200 years to give women their right. Similarly, Britain, in Britain, it's not everything was evolved. Democratic practices was also evolved. We can say the year 1688 is very important in the history of Britain, in the establishment of supremacy of parliament, or in the establishment of democratic practices. 1688, we can say the process has started, and there women got right to vote in 1928. So you can imagine the condition. Women had to fight for almost 200 years, more than 200 years, in order to get right to vote. But our constitution makers were of the opinion that everyone must have equal right, and we cannot deprive women of the right to vote. And in this way, they gave right to vote to all the people without any discrimination. There was only two criteria, that was the criteria of citizenship and the criteria of age. So there are many who described this function of our constitution makers in a very different manner. Like an Indian editor called it the biggest gamble in history. It was said that the Indian constitution makers has given right to vote to all its people, all its citizens, and there is so much illiteracy in the country, so much poverty in the country, that uh, they will not be able to use this right in a proper manner, and it is just like a gamble. जैसे एक गैम्बल होता है जिसमें कि हम जीतने का भी उतना ही पॉसिबिलिटी होता है जितना हारने का होता है. नथिंग कैन बी प्रेडिक्टेड. जस्ट लाइक दैट, मतलब पीपल स्टार्टेड टू से दैट इट इज द बिगेस्ट गैम्बल. ये जो इलेक्शन होने जा रहा है इंडिया में, उसका क्या रिजल्ट होगा, ये एक गैम्बल की तरह है. इसके बारे में वी कैन नॉट प्रेडिक्ट एनीथिंग, बिकॉज people are so much poor, they are so illiterate there, and still they are having the universal adult franchise. Then likewise, uh, organizer, which is the name of a magazine, wrote that Jawaharlal Nehru would live to confess the failure of universal adult franchise in India. So they were very much confident that India's, India is uh, going to fail in this election. India will not be able to manage all these things. India will not be able to uh, uh, hold elections. India will not be able to, Indians will not be able to exercise their right to vote in a proper manner. And Pandit Nehru was the then Prime Minister of India. Pandit Nehru would confess the failure of universal adult franchise in India. So this was the opinion of organizer. And then we see a British member of the Indian Civil Service. He claimed that a future and more enlightened age will view with astonishment the absurd farce of recording the votes of millions of illiterate people. Just you can imagine what kind of statements people are giving. Matlab, they are not believing, they are not ready to believe that India has become an independent country. India has adopted democratic principles. India is going to hold elections. India has given all its citizens universal adult suffrage. They are not ready to accept all these things, and they are completely sure that India is going to be a big failure, because you can see these statements: a future and more enlightened age. The future generation who will be more enlightened, who will be more literate, that age, the new future generation will view with astonishment, very surprisingly, they will view all these things, the absurd farce of recording the votes of millions of illiterate people. Matlab, there is no utility of giving right to vote to the illiterate people of India. But India has proved itself. Indian people has proved themselves that they are capable of using right to vote. They are capable of holding elections. They are capable of setting up a democratic government in real and meaningful manner. So, history has proved that our constitution makers, as well as our political leaders, as well as the common people of India, has contributed towards the establishment of democratic government in country. So today we will discuss this much, and now we will discuss